So we're in the center, on the capital of watchmaking, and we haven't heard a story about watches. So please, let me change that. This painting here shows the first portable watch ever. It's dating back about 1560, and most likely portrays Cosimo de' Medici, one of the most powerful men back then. In today's standards, we can safely call the Medici as the watch industry first influencer. Around the same time, Huguenot refugees arrived in Geneva. They brought with them their expertise in exactly portable watchmaking. This combined well with the city's already existing gold and silversmithing, finally resulting in Switzerland becoming the center of timekeeping for centuries. Let me tell you another story of a personal experience in a startup. We introduced cashless payment systems for festivals. And you may be surprised to learn that the main reason why organizer adapted those technology wasn't to create real-time data or customer profiles. No, it was to prevent theft by sneaky barkeepers. Do you remember the traditional cash register? Why do you think they have a bell when the drawer opens? Exactly the same reason, to prevent theft. So usually when you're introducing such kind of technologies, you got two groups opposing it. First, the thieves who were obviously scared of being caught. And second, the majority, the honest cashiers who felt distrusted by their boss. And this started the vicious circle. While the first example demonstrates for me a great story about openness to the unknown, adapting new technology, and even enhancing it, the second example is quite the contrary. This highlights the fine balance we have to take when designing and utilizing new technologies. Tonight, we're going to dive headfirst into a crucial topic of our time, about innovation, collaboration, and fundamentally, trust. With deep fakes, social bots, mass video surveillance in the news, it's as relevant as it's complex. But I'm convinced we need to take responsibility for our future now, because before machines control us. So, hi, I'm Marc. I'm an innovation workshop facilitator. I'm a neurodivergent thinker and a stand-up comedian. And I hope by the next 10 minutes, you know which of these three statements is just a big fat lie. However, any of these roles must deal with uncertainty. And there's a secret weapon we use. Models, frameworks, patterns, and routines. The tools of the cool kids. They help us to simplify the complex challenge we face every day. And let it be a warning, I use a lot of them. First, let's talk about the power of collaboration. We all agree that working together is like the bread and butter of our progress, right? It's the glue that holds our society and economy together, and it's what makes innovation happen. And that's why I love my job. I get to bring together different experts of different fields with different skills, creating a safe space where opinions, technology, and ideas can collide, and seeing the positive impact of cross-fertilization. Just to be clear, when I talk about cross-fertilization, I don't mean that the outgoing marketing guy is dating the new accountant. No, cross-fertilization in an innovation context means sharing knowledge, inspiring each other in order to create better products or services. It's important that we create an environment where people feel safe to do that. Where safe to talk about their weird ideas, their deepest fears, and their epic failures. It's all about psychological safety. Innovation means change. And change is sometimes fun, thanks Thierry, but usually change is hard. You know what's a natural reaction to change? It's fear. It's a survival mechanism that served us well back in the Stone Age. But we can't let that fear hold us back in this crazy, fast-paced world we live in. We gotta embrace collaboration. We gotta embrace new technology and see the opportunities that arise from shaking things up. After all, if our ancestors didn't innovate and collaborate and think outside the box, we would be still living in cages. The fear of technology isn't just based on our neurological reactions. The history shows that we have a tendency to misuse it. Business leaders usually first adopt the new technology to streamline their process, to automate their operations, which is okay. But secondly, due to a short-term focus, they may resort to downsizing and layoffs, instead of seeing the opportunities of these freed up resources and innovating on the true potential of technology. And we can't rely on the politics to resolve this issue neither. Their attempts to protect us from the negative effects of technology often repeatedly backfired. Leaks in medical databases, issues with contact tracing, GDPR, just to name a few. So as we've seen, we have a history of screwing things up when it comes to technology. So no wonder we are skeptical about new emerging technologies. Trust is a fundamental component of collaboration, whether it's been humans or between humans and machines. So let's have a closer look at it. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be pretty. So on a personal level, our brains have shortcuts that are easily influenced. Some examples. I don't usually wear glasses, but Swiss psychologists showed that this may increase in trustworthiness. The same goes for a good story, for a friendly smile. This can lead us to make quick judgments about people based on emotion and not logic. Multiple studies have found that we tend to trust people who are similar to us. While this worked well in a local context, it becomes a problem in our globalized, multi-ethical world. Some other bias. We tend to extend our trust even when the contexts change. For instance, I trust my partner, my lovely partner, completely. But asking her to doing my taxes, that's something different. But I believe a lot of scandals, especially in the finance industry, could have been prevented if we didn't fall back to this thinking error. No trust, no use is a saying amongst developers of business application. But is this true? The privacy paradox shows that even though we are aware of data issues, we still use platforms like Facebook. So on one hand, we claim we care about our data, so why don't our actions match? Trust is in trouble, also on societal level. We keep hearing that trust in media, governments, and other institutions has been declining for years. American researchers suggest that this may be due to political polarization, social inequalities, or the erosion of social norm. But could it be that we're just overloaded with trust decisions in our everyday life, and we default to a state of distrust, or even worse, indifference? And can algorithms help us to save brain power and be better at trusting? So trust was easy back in the Stone Age. When population was relatively small, gossip and social reputation worked as effective control mechanism. If you couldn't be trusted, you were excluded from the community. But as they grew bigger and trade became more important, we started to outsource our trust to third parties. Churches, kings, and governments, and nowadays organizations, brands and labels, and technology. But wait, do we really trust technology? Or, after all, most technology we use is controlled by organization, which remains a black box to us. With their goals prioritizing self-preservation over employee or customer satisfaction. But there's a silver lining. With distributed networks, such as Bitcoin, they create systems where trust may not be longer required. Even if it may seem like trust is just shifted to another third party, these systems are not centralized, they don't operate on false incentives, and they're fully transparent. But we can't rely on algorithms for this issue either, solely. Surprisingly, for something as crucial as trust, we have a pretty limited vocabulary to discuss it. So, I would like to propose a common language to discuss our trust-building issues. Let's compare trust to water in its three aggregate states: ice, water, and steam. Where steam is the state where we have little to no basis to trust someone or something. We gotta do the extra effort, analyze, gather information in order to build a foundation where we can build trust upon. This is usually where I place emerging technologies or new initiatives in it. Water, in its liquid state, can go both ways. It is when you have some faith in someone or something, but further testing, further experiments may be required. This is where I put new acquaintances in it. And finally, ice. Just like ice represents a solid state, it means we trust completely. We don't need to exert control or monitoring. We save that energy. And we just commit to trust completely. This has a positive side effect. The statement, "I have an icy relationship with my mother-in-law," becomes a completely new meaning. It's important to remember, trust is contextual. It evolves over time and is rather a scale and not binary. It's a dynamic process which can be decreased or increased with each interaction you have with the person, organization, or technology in question. To summarize, collaboration is essential for the progress and well-being of a society. Yet, its foundation, trust, is in trouble. Technological advantages are coming. It's crucial that we design, implement, and evaluate new emerging technologies in a way that they restore trust and foster collaboration, not the inverse. So my recommendation for business leaders and innovators: let's build technology that promotes trust and not distrust. For politicians, there's a counterintuitive lesson. To be more trustworthy, try to be less certain, admit mistakes. And for us as individuals, take responsibility. Be aware of biases in trust building and act accordingly. And finally, believe in the concept of reciprocity. Be kind without a hidden agenda, and you will earn the results soon. Trust is not bulletproof by definition. You will be disappointed, but history has shown us that the benefits outweigh the negative effects. Finally, why should you trust me? You shouldn't. I obviously lied to you. So please test, analyze, and explore this topic further. Back to this fella, our influencer, Mr. Medici. Thanks to technological progress and the use of supercomputers, we finally can decipher what was written on his watch. If we zoom in by 300 times, we can see a clear picture that some things never change. Thank you.